We spreading that shit, the coronavirus. We spreading that shit. And my mama, big ass coronavirus. Open everything up. We spreading that shit. My mama. My slime go crazy on Ed.
Dean, if I had your information a few years back, man, I would not have gotten a divorce.
Hey, man, I just want you to know that your show done changed my life, man.
Take your characteristics that you know about yourself and you work on those.
Man, I'm going to tell you like this, man. You get this natural high from
one product. Oh, this makes sense.
Whether she will still have children if she haven't found the right partner. Rihanna did not hesitate. Hell yeah. I feel like society makes me want to feel like, oh, you got it wrong. They diminish you as a mother. If there's not a dad in with your kids' lives, but the only thing that matters is happiness. That's a healthy relationship between parent and child. That is the only thing that can raise a child, is truly love. Man, guys, let me tell you, that is some bull shit. Let me tell you something. Whether it is a boy or a girl, the problem is a mother can give a child love, but one thing that the child is always going to need is a fatherhead or a figure to show that boy or show that girl the meaning and value and worth of their name. Women make a lot of emotional, irrational, unlogical decisions based off of what? How they feel. And it's because of how they feel, they do a lot of damage to a lot of kids. And what Rihanna's doing right here is really, really fucked up. Why? And there's several reasons why Rihanna is messing this thing up for this child. Because see, what a lot of people don't understand, again, as mom loves you. You're her baby, and you always will be. But this is what's going on. You go to YouTube, you go to World Star, you see these kids with no dad in the household acting like goddamn fools. And that's the truth. And unfortunately for that child or those children that she's going to have, later on down the line, which is going to do more harm and more confusion to that kid, is bringing in substitutes for that kid. What if Rihanna has a kid by somebody, they don't work out, then she's going to look for another substitute. That's going to really confuse the kid. And especially if she has boys. We have seen it already what women do. See, it's in her nature to coddle. And coddling is not a bad thing for a young kid between the age when he's born to when he's 6 or 7. But there has to be a cut in the umbilical cord. And the problem is when you coddle your son, he never grows up learning that they have to really take responsibility for their actions. And what you see now, like I said, on World Star, you see everybody ripping and running through Walmart, acting a damn fool and things like that. No responsibility. Because one thing only mom can give a lot of boys, unfortunately, when they get older, is unaccountability. No accountability, victimhood, and blame. A lot of women don't want to realize that sex is an agreement between two people, but having a child is a choice only made by the woman alone. And a lot of women are unaccountable. And because of the coddling, teaching these boys how to be emotional, where you see a lot of these men today have no self-control. Look on YouTube. A lot of these young men, seems like they come from single parent homes, always complaining, bitching, whining and moaning over things that they shouldn't be complaining about. The discipline, it's inconsistent. And because of mom giving these boys inconsistent discipline, these young boys will never ever understand that for every action that they do, there's going to be a reaction. Meaning, if you go into Walmart and act a fool and drink something, or you do something that you shouldn't do, there's going to be a reaction. And that's where dad comes in at. That's where dad has to help. And what Rihanna's doing is she's pushing this agenda to make women think that, you know what, in order to, you don't need a man to have a child. That's true, but you do need a man to give that child a solid foundation, a guidance, and a way to understand what it means to be a man. You know, unfortunately, a lot of these women out here, when it comes to these young men, and this is what you see nowadays, men going their own way, being victims, blaming, and all that other stuff. It's because mom will never teach these boys something dad can, and that's boundaries. And to see, the thing about boundaries is that these boys and these girls need to know when they go too far. Drugs, drinking, crime, whatever. They need to learn when they go too far. And it is something that mom can't teach them. They can't, because mom is too busy smothering those boys, keeping their umbilical cord attached to these boys. And unfortunately, these boys will never grow up understanding that, you know, he grows up dependent on women. And then all of a sudden, when he cuts the umbilical cord from his mom, he's looking to attach it somewhere else. And that's part of the problem that we're dealing with when it comes to situations like this. It is her right to have a child if she wants to have one. But what women have to understand, without dad there, the fact that she's saying that, she said it in quotes, that the only thing that matters is happiness. That's the only healthy relationship between a parent and a child. It's the only thing that can raise it. That's the only thing that can raise a child truly, is love. Who the fuck? This is why boys need dad, why girls need dad. Nobody's saying love, but dad loves in a different way than mom does. Mom is going to love you and not see fault. Mom is going to love you and not see where you need to be checked at to stop you and prevent you from going down the road. Your fans, your audience, your women followers, that, you know what, I can have a baby on my own and I don't need a man, which is going to really reinforce the bad behavior that we're having today. These kids are out of hand, they're out of touch, and they running amok, running crazy around because of not only statements like Rihanna's making, but you've got to be careful when, especially when you're in the limelight, you've got to be careful about what you say and what you do, because you make a huge impression on everybody that watches you. And Rihanna, you kind of dropped the ball on this one, because you can have a child, but that child ain't gonna make it. That child is going to be the reason why people like me and other men have got to have to watch their wallets. They're going to have a gun and carry conceal, because, and I'm not generalizing, I'm not saying all, but if you look at the statistics, you will see what happens when you raise a child on your own. Boys need dad. And what you are doing, Rihanna, is a disservice to any child that you have, knowing that you want to have a bunch of kids with probably a bunch of different men, or a man that you won't put a name to him. What name are you going to give that kid? Is that child going to have his father's name, Or are you going to change the name on the birth certificate to your name? These are very important things, guys. I hope that she's kidding with all this bullshit, because if she's not, she has just started another virus that is going to hit the airwaves to a lot of young women who feel like they don't need a man, who feel like I can have a child on my own because Rihanna told me and said that, you know what, hey, society makes us feel like, oh, we're wrong. They try to diminish me not only as a woman, but as a mother, if there's no dad in our lives. But the only thing that matters is happiness. As long as my kid is happy, and as long as I love my kid, everything's going to be right. Guys, this is the bullshit that I'm talking about. Man, Rihanna is fucking up, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse when women are making decisions like that and forgetting that kids need a balance. At the end of the day, they need balance. They need a rock in the home to give them balance. And without balance, these kids are just going to run amok.